Will TikTok ads work for my business? This is a question that I'm hearing a lot right now. And so I wanted to shoot a video basically breaking down my answer to this question because it's been the same answer to every question from every type of person over the last year or so as I've gotten at events, speaking on stages, in my own community. So this is an interesting question that I get. And it's interesting for a number of reasons. But one of the biggest is that it is word for word and almost timing for timing the same question that I was getting in the early days of Facebook. So I was lucky enough to be around super early with Facebook ads, just like I'm lucky to be around super early for TikTok ads, right? Um, and it might sound crazy if you're, a 20-year-old business owner, 25-year-old business owner, if you're like a young business owner or new to the space, it may sound crazy that there was a time where people doubted Facebook, where it was like right now, if you're a Facebook ad agency, you don't have to sell a client on advertising on Facebook, right? That's no longer what you have to do. You're basically selling them on how you are better at running Facebook ads than their existing agency or other agencies that are pitching them. That's where you're at with Facebook ads. But there was a time where I was on a lot of these calls and people were asking me, they were like, hey, I don't think my customers on Facebook. I think Facebook is just a bunch of college kids and they have no money and they buy nothing. And I'm in industry X and that person doesn't exist on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, so my customers aren't on Facebook. That was a real objection. Anybody around back then knows exactly what I'm talking about. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below if you went through the same thing. But yeah, we had to sell the future of Facebook. We had to sell, hey, no, this is the real deal. This is where everybody's going to be. This is where billions of people will be of every age, every ethnicity, every part of the income spectrum, right, will be on Facebook. And flash forward to today, everybody is on Facebook or Instagram and everybody's advertising there. That's basically where all the ad revenue is. It's either on Facebook or on Google right now, or Amazon, the triopoly, but really Facebook and Google, right? And so it's funny that like with TikTok, it's the exact same thing in the exact same phase. I talked about timing of their life cycle. So like a billion monthly active users, where TikTok's at in the growth cycle and the growth curve, and also the kind of public sentiment. Um, you have a lot of interest, but also a lot of doubt. So now what's happening is you have a lot of individual business owners who are maybe they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they don't personally use TikTok. And so they have assumptions of what TikTok is and who uses TikTok. And that assumption usually goes something like, hey, TikTok is just a bunch of 16-year-old kids that dance all day and watch videos of dancing, mindlessly scrolling. That's TikTok. My customer is a 44-year-old professional that makes 500 grand a year and spends, 10 grand on my product. That's my customer. And that person isn't on TikTok because I assume it's just kids. So the answer to the question of should I advertise on TikTok, is TikTok right for my business, is yes, it is right for every business. Anytime you are talking about a platform with a billion people on it and growing, chances are your customers on there, right? If we were talking about, hey, this app's got 10 million users, 100 million users, even half a billion users, okay, sure, you can make that argument. Potentially your customer might not be on there. But once you get into the billions, you're talking about huge chunks of the entire global population, right? And pretty much the entire chunk of first world countries like the United States. So that's something just to understand, is that your customer is on there, right? They're on there right now. And more of them are getting on there right now, and they're using the app and they're liking the app because it's different, it's novel, it's exciting, it's addictive, right? They're spending a lot of time on there. So that's the first objection, is the age objection. And just to give you some specific numbers, if you go into Ads Manager right now in TikTok and you go and you just set the ad group to, wide open targeting, men, women, English speaking United States, and just change the age brackets right there, and you go 45 and 54 and 55 plus, those two brackets highlighted, you'll see about 21.7 million people. So there's around 22 million targetable TikTok users, English speaking in the United States, who are over the age of 45. It's not a small number, right? 20 plus million people, and that's growing really fast. Every month or so, that number gets bigger and bigger and bigger when I look at Ads Manager. Then once you go just 55 and up, sure, it drops, but it's still around 8 million people. So there's around 8 million targetable users on TikTok, United States, English speaking, 55 and up. So the audience is there. We're talking tens of millions of people over the age of 45 on the app that are targetable, just in the United States, just English speaking. So age is not the question. And again, that demo is the fastest growing demo, just like it was with Facebook. Because what happens in these platforms is all the young kids get on something because it's cool and novel, and they all fled to it once it's cool and novel, right? So Facebook, for example, started in colleges, took over all the colleges, then all high schoolers got on it. Then what happens? Once all the kids are on it, parents get on it because they're curious. They're like, hey, all my kids and my kids' friends, they live on this thing and they talk on this thing and they post on this thing. I want to see what's going on there. So they get on to watch their kids. And then eventually they get hooked on and addicted to it. And then their parents, the same thing happens to them. So the same thing is happening with TikTok. All the kids are already on it. Now all the parents are getting on it because they keep seeing their kids on it all the time. They're getting hooked on it. And then the grandparents are going to get on it. So it's going to run the full spectrum of ages, and it's going to keep growing and growing and growing in those 45 and up demos. So objection 1 answered. Objection 2 is money and spending power. So it's, hey, TikTok users don't have any money. They're just poor kids and they have no spending power. And they don't buy stuff. Couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, high ticket is working so well on TikTok right now that we have a few agency clients that have actually paused their low ticket stuff that was working to build out high ticket funnels because that's how well it's working. And now they're crushing high ticket. We have a brand selling a $15,000 health and wellness program that's crushing. We have a consulting client that is helping place salespeople. So you can get placed at companies as a salesperson, $7,500. A lot of these kind of add to VSL opt-in, to short VSL, to book a call and closing on this phone, working. Solar, selling expensive solar panels and installation, working really well. So a lot of high ticket is working really, really well on the app. And we have numerous clients on the agency and numerous clients on the consulting that are either already doing high ticket and doing well, or they're now looking to add high ticket because they keep hearing how well it's doing. So objection 2 answered. People have money. They're spending money. High ticket works. You can sell a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 product to TikTok users. Again, when you have 1 billion people, that means there's probably a lot of people on there that have money and that like to invest money, like to spend money. So the age is there. The money is there. Those are kind of the really big objections. Then the third one, which is always fascinating to me, and that's the final one that we'll cover tonight, is my competition is not on there, right? So there's nobody else in my industry on there. And therefore it's like, they're not on there because it doesn't work. So I'm not going to try it. That's a vicious cycle to be in. That's a chicken or the egg thing, right? Because it's, hey, nobody's on there for that industry, not because it doesn't work, but usually it's because nobody wants to, in certain industries, be the first mover. So everyone's just sitting on the sideline and they're all sitting there together and they're not jumping in because nobody else has jumped in. So nobody ever does jump in until eventually some, young, scrappier, more innovative company enters the market and crushes it. And then everyone jumps in. So if that's where you're thinking is like, hey, my industry isn't really represented on TikTok. One, I would challenge you organically to go into the app and search some of your keywords. You'll be surprised. Pretty much every possible industry and profession and market, there are some massive people, influencer-wise, just crushing it, right? Professionals from that industry. So like Law by Mike, that guy. Lawyer, right? Law isn't fun or exciting. He has millions of followers. His videos get millions, tens of millions of views talking about the law, right? So that means to me, there is a demand for legal content, right? Because if it wasn't, that wouldn't exist. And first movers make massive amounts of money and claim a lot of real estate. So chances are on the organic side, your industry and market's being represented. But on the paid side, nobody wants to jump in because most people, especially in conservative, more boring industries, like safety. They don't like being early. They like kind of being in the middle of the pack. The way I look at it, though, is I look at everything as a risk reward. And so the risk of you being one of the first people in your industry to test TikTok is, worst case scenario, you invest, $5,000 in a month or two testing something and just bombs. It doesn't work. And you're out, you probably make some money. So you're out like maybe $4,000, right? So you're out $4,000 in a month, but at least you gave it a shot and at least you have data to back up your viewpoint. That's the risk, the max risk. The reward is unlimited because the reward is, hey, it actually does work for you. And now you're one of the first movers in that industry on TikTok. So you have just kind of carte blanche to just capture the entire market because nobody else is hitting them with those messaging. You're the only person marketing that type of product. So you can dominate because you're unique and novel. And you can build this land, you can get this land grab. You could build up a lot of data a lot cheaper and capture that market. So by the time your competition jumps in, you have a huge advantage. And that is worth millions, tens of millions plus to the right business, right? So that's the reward. So that's my advice to you is like, again, test it. Worst case scenario, you lose a few grand. Best case scenario, which is more likely in my opinion, you make a ton of money and be one of the first movers and kind of do that land grab and put up some big walls and barriers around your market. So that's what I have for you guys. Again, if you're enjoying my content, enjoying my videos, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell so you get all my videos, all my notifications. And let me know in the comments. Have you tested TikTok ads yet? Have you not tested TikTok ads? Were any of the reasons why you're not testing addressed in this video? Were there reasons that you aren't doing it that I didn't address in this video that you have, you want answered? If so, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to each and every one of you guys later.